We've got some.
Hey, I'm Luis.
And I'm Luis.
And you're listening to the Content is Profit podcast.
We spent the last 4 years learning the strategies and techniques from some of the top marketers in the world on how to create content that turns into profit. And today, we're bringing them to you so you can take action immediately and start creating real content momentum.
If you'd like to learn more about how to turn your content into profit, go to contentisprofit.com. Oh, yeah. It has been updated. Here we go. This is the beautiful thing about doing things live.
That is correct.
It is what it is. Okay.
But I'm very excited about this conversation.
Before we get started, Fonzie,
Yeah.
do we have a sponsor today?
Indeed, we do. Thank you for asking.
You're
sir.
welcome.
Today's sponsor is your own, the BIZBROS. Yes, we sponsor our own podcast episodes with content momentum.
Let's go.
And you might be asking yourself, what is content momentum? Well, if you produce a long-form piece of content, just like this one that you're listening to or watching, and you want to maximize your efforts, increase your reach, and turn that massive amount of awesome content into value-packed bite-sized assets, we can do that for you. Slide at the DMs at BizBrosCo on Facebook, on Instagram.
So good, Fonzie. Thank you so much. If you are enjoying the shows, the live shows, the interviews, go ahead and follow Content is Profit in your favorite platform. All you got to do is go to the search bar and type that name, and you're going to find us and all the incredible entrepreneurs that we continue to have conversations with that share actionable points so you can actually do something and create that momentum. So good, because when we started doing something, that's when everything changed for us. Anything else, Fonzie? I don't have my cheat sheet today.
I'm actually pretty good. I'm just adding here in the comments. Join the stream. Link in the comments. That is on my personal page in case somebody runs across it. We want to have an awesome conversation, discussion, hear multiple opinions.
Before we go, I know that you wrote like 30,000 different things over here to discuss.
They're in order. They're in order,
Okay.
yeah. Atlas, you gotta move, buddy. I'm gonna be stepping on you.
By the way, Atlas is my dog.
Yeah, Atlas is the dog.
He loves to be around. Okay.
I have no
Fonzie,
space to move.
What is Greenroom?
All right, let's start over there. Greenroom, guys, is the new competition to Clubhouse.
Is it really a competition?
I don't know. I think that's what we've heard. That's what people are placing it as. But pretty much Greenroom is an app by Spotify that does interactive live audio the same way that Clubhouse does it. It does have some different features. Obviously, we're going to discuss a little bit on that. But more than features, I want to discuss more about impact and, the race aspect of what app is going to take over that marketplace. But that being said, so the Greenroom works very similar to Clubhouse, where you open the app, you see a bunch of rooms, you join a room, and then you start listening to the people speaking, or you can be part of the speakers and share some value.
So, we experienced Clubhouse in the first place, right?
You're struggling with the names.
I know, man. Greenroom, Clubhouse, what's going on? But we experienced it, right? Like we got this massive flow of people moving to the platform, people that in our industry, people creating content, right? And like, this is incredible. We can do live audio, and we do obviously audio and live video. And we're like, is there a way that we can implement these two or mix both of them together? And we jumped in there and we started collaborating and talking. But really, the app, honestly, completely honest, it didn't resonate much with me after the first week or so. Like I didn't sleep. I was in there for way too long. Fonzie was like, what are you doing? Right? I was in a bad mood. And I wasn't really enjoying the whole experience, right? And we talked about this on the show many, many times that, if we're not enjoying the process, we might have to rethink different things, right? So we had a conversation. We're like, we're just gonna go in there once in a while, but we're not really gonna host either the show in there, or we're not gonna really do anything because it just added a ton of friction into our process. Now, yesterday, a few months ago, we've been collaborating in a Clubhouse room with this incredible community, right? And we're in there and we're sharing these stories. And one of the people that come into our Facebook Live challenge comes on and he's like, oh my God, guys, guess what? I was just in this other app called Greenroom, right? And we're like, what? What is Greenroom? It's like, well, it really feels like a Clubhouse version, but it's from Spotify. And I recommend you guys going there, right? So at first we're like, oh, that's kind of cool. I mean, we immediately downloaded the app. We're like, what's going on? And we just left it there, right? And we're like, okay, well, maybe another shiny object. We'll see what happens. And then today, we were gonna have this incredible guest, which is coming, by the way, later this month. And we jumped on the call. Internet was a little spotty because he was on the move, right? And he has been one of the guys that has grown his Clubhouse audience to the thousands, to the hundreds of thousands, right? And very quickly, and has been able to collaborate with incredible people in there. And he's like, guys, before I jumped on this call, I was in this thing called Greenroom, where Spotify invited us and invited my team to actually go there and talk a little bit. I'm like, this is pretty interesting. Let's, since we're rescheduling, Fonzie and I, let's go there and let's explore the app a little bit. And we jumped in a few rooms. We started interacting with the app. We was like, okay, is this really a thing? Is it not really a thing? What's the flow of things? Does it really look like Clubhouse? And then a ton of thoughts started to come into place. And we're like, this can be really interesting because, as you may know, Spotify, it's a giant in the industry. They have been investing a lot of money in creators, in these experiences, right? And we're going to share our thoughts about Greenroom versus Clubhouse to figure out if this is actually something that people need to be concerned about, right? So we see people coming in. What's up, RJ? We've been people coming in and out of the Greenroom room, actually. So if you are in the app, go find us because we're streaming live right now, and it's gonna be up front. All right, Fonzie, first thought, what do you have in your cheat sheet?
All right, first of all, is Clubhouse, because I want to frame this for people, right? Obviously, Clubhouse launched, I don't even know about a year ago at this point. They launched, but recently. They launched a while ago, but they started gaining a lot of traction.
Yes,
I would say about a year ago, like 6 months actually, about 6 months ago. And so, first of all, do we consider them the category kings of drop-in audio or interactive live audio? Right? They actually recently got valued at $1 billion, which is a lot of moolah there. And now other platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, they started creating audio, interactive audio platforms or features within their platform, right? You got Absolutely. Twitter Spaces. I don't know the name exactly of the Facebook one, but I think it's kind of like Facebook Rooms type of thing. And now you got Spotify, a massive audio player, honestly, that are making massive moves in the podcasting industry. Yep. Right. I mean, they just invested like 100 millions in Joe Rogan. I just heard they invested like 60 million. It's a 60 million contract with Call Me Daddy, something like that. Call Her Daddy, something like that. One of those.
That was a Barstool show.
One of those Barstool shows, which, I mean, good exit right there for Barstool on that show. So the question becomes now, is Clubhouse the category king? And is Spotify and Greenroom coming for that crown, right? I mean, what do you think on that?
I think we've talked about this. We live in an abundance mindset, right? I think there's enough for everybody, right? I just think that Spotify saw that and we're like, whoa, this is a great opportunity. We learned also through the conversations that we've been having in the app or listening into the app, that Greenroom was actually an app called Locker Room, and it was specifically to talk about sports. Right. Mm-hmm. So they actually acquire, right, the application to come in and transform them into Greenroom. By the way, we're going to be running the show in and out. We have one of our favorite brothers over here, RJ. What's up, man? We're going to bring you actually on the stream right now.
Yeah, we're going to discuss each point individually. We'll bring you on for a little bit and then we'll bring you.
Yeah.
What's up, guys?
By the way, I want to give you a huge plug over here. You just released your book, right? Decades in Days, which is so amazing. Let's go. Show it over. And, you interview a ton of people, a ton of entrepreneurs. Almost every single day, you have this incredible connection, right, in your own show. And by the way, you'll be coming here to Contents Profit very, very soon. But have you experienced something with Greenroom and Clubhouse? And do you mind sharing your experience with us?
Yeah, so true. One of the most common facts that I actually noticed with the Greenroom especially is I think they want to, like Facebook, and they want to dominate every single market out there that is around them, which they feel like they're competitors, like for Snapchat, it was like kind of their competitors that it was, and they wasn't like ready to buy. They didn't agree to buy Snapchat and everything out there, and then they went on by Instagram because again that was kind of the big thing, or on the verge of blowing up. Same thing happened probably with like Clubhouse and everything out there as well. Clubhouse became like a new buzz where everyone is on the Clubhouse. Facebook feels like, okay, there comes an audio version of it, and now it's becoming like more and more sort of like challenging for them to get on the audio side. So I believe that is one of the main reason, because they felt like it is competitive in the audio version of it, to go against sort of Clubhouse. That is the main reason they went on and created their green room. They don't like competitiveness, to be very honest. They're not into that stuff. They don't like competitors. That's what I believe.
I mean, they have the resources to, build these platforms, maintain these platforms, probably run these platforms better than up and coming startups, right? I mean, yes, startups, I love startups. I think it's amazing. But at the end of the day, is your product that good? Is the value that you offer that good that nobody else can replicate, right? Or is your product just built on features that any other business can replicate, right? I mean, let's have an example, right? It's Snapchat. Snapchat is amazing. They're doing great right now. Actually, they build a lot of value within their experience. But at first, when Facebook wanted to buy them and they said no, Facebook just literally copied the features of Snapchat, right? And then guess what? Snapchat had to evolve. What are we gonna do next? I think it's the same with Clubhouse right now. They honestly, it was so different, the fact that it's interactive live audio, that people were like, wow, it's a whole new medium that we can take over, try to take advantage of. But at the end of the day, it's code, it's a future that other businesses that have great coders can probably do as well and replicate, right? So that's what we're seeing now in this Twitter Spaces, now Facebook doing their stuff, and now massive player Spotify.
I think this is a great solution for people that are already in the Spotify platform, right? Like it's so low friction for the people that are already creating in there, that people are already engaging in there, right? And we're going to talk about some of those features right below, but as far as like providing the stage to do this, currently right now we're recording on the app, right? And they'll send you an email with the recording. So for those accessibility to be able to actually record a show from your phone, like no editing whatsoever, right? If you want to do live, it's ready for you. So talk about less friction. So anyways, we're gonna go deep dive.
To talk a little bit more about that point real quick. I mean, Spotify has been making huge strides on content creation, right? They are including content creators in their world, in their ecosystem. They've been giving out contracts for podcasters, right? They want, they believe in content, right? And the fact that they allow you easily, frictionless from the platform to record and then get the recording so you can do whatever you want with that, that is a huge plus. I mean, at first, Clubhouse didn't even let you record anything. And one of the main complaints we used to hear people say was, everything is awesome. The content is so valuable, but it's gone after I'm done saying it, right? Because nobody can keep it. Nobody can repurpose it. Nobody can record it. And that was something that Spotify, I'm guessing, they listened to the problems in the market. That's a lesson right there. And they took action on that. They were like, let's just create a recording in here.
RJ, before we move into the next part, how this is gonna work is gonna be very similar to these rooms. We're gonna talk about that main topic, and then we're gonna kind of go back live us, and then you're more than welcome to stay right here behind the scenes and come back up. Put it in the private comments here if you have that. But before we move into the next one, do you have any thoughts on the app? Have you tried the app? From what you've heard, what are some things that you're excited about?
For sure, man. For sure. Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I'm super excited.
I think we're getting a little lag in here.
Yeah, I think we're getting a little lag. It's all good, RJ. So put some comments right in the private chat if you want to, but we're going to go back to just us for now. But feel free to stay here behind the scenes. And then if you have any other comments regarding the new topics, we'll bring you back on. And this is exciting. So thank you guys for joining us. RJ, put the link of your book right in the comments, man.
Yes.
This is so exciting. Put it right in the comments, and then, we'll see you soon for sure. All right. So continue on. What's the next one, Fonzie?
Next point is, well, actually, I'm gonna have to skip some just for the sake of time. But
No.
this one I loved. I heard it from The Hustle. Right,
Yeah.
they have an incredible. The Hustle per se is not the ones that have the podcast, but Sam and Sean, I think that's his name. They have a podcast called My First Million, where they talked about the fall of Clubhouse. Right, one of them predicted the fall of Clubhouse, and one of the reasons was a metric that they call TTF, right, which stands for time to fun. Most apps, as soon as you open the app, you're boom, engage. Instagram, you have pictures, likes, comments, you get notifications. TikTok, not even talk about that. You join for 7 seconds and then you're deep into the black hole until 3 hours later. So most of these apps literally take 7 seconds to grab your attention. The issue with Clubhouse was that you're in and it takes a lot of time to get that to that fun spot, right? Yeah. Because now you are looking for rooms that are talking about something interesting that you want to talk about too. Maybe you're just sitting there as a listener, right? And I'm gonna make a bold claim or maybe a bold assumption right here, but most people in there probably wanted to speak. People there were mostly going, at least in the marketing space, they wanted to go there to build an audience. And the fact that you had to go into a room and wait to raise your hand and all that stuff to have an opportunity to express your opinion or your thoughts was very challenging. And these people from The Hustle, they share a stat that blew my mind. Clubhouse downloads on February were 9.8 million. That was the peak. I'm guessing that's probably when Elon Musk showed up, that he had like a bunch of rooms restreaming the conversation actually. And the downloads on April were 990,000. That is an 89% nosedive on downloads for Clubhouse. That is horrible, honestly. That's horrible. They cannot retain. They cannot retain the users.
Yeah, I think it was also in that very specific experience with Clubhouse. I think it was, the cool kids club, right? Because you could not get in if you did not have an invite, right? So a lot of people are like, send me an invite. This is so cool, right? Yep. And so it got to a point where everybody was in there. Everybody was wanting to give value, right? We just heard an argument, or it was really an argument inside of the, Greenroom app about this. One guy was talking about, there's people in there that there's not an audience, right? Everybody just wanted to talk, and it was just the same club of people just going around themselves and just liking and sharing their own stuff, right? And then there
were is something that we're going to cover in this conversation.
There's other people in there that really stand by. They really had an audience, and they were able to develop that relationship, I guess, right? So to each their own, but at the same time, that big dip from 9 million to 900,000 listeners, right, in that specific channel, is so significant, right? Like, it's so much people, right? And the cool thing that I think is that that's a filter. Like, who's really actually staying on the platform? What are you establishing a really good connection, right? So most people are going to see that as a negative thing. I personally see that that's a very positive thing, because, in this case, as in, I'm filtering my audience through my message, right? I really want people that want to sync with me, that want to connect with me, right?
Yep.
And that's really important. Now, in the traditional sense of content, where people see like, okay, the engagement, the likes, do they actually really translate into money? Maybe, if you have a big advertising deal, right? So maybe in that sense, yes. But for the new creators, smaller creators, does that really matter? I think it's more powerful to have that one-on-one conversation with a small room. And actually, yesterday, we had that small room. It was probably about 10 people, and the discussion was incredible, right? We were able to actually give value specific to those people, and those people gave us incredible value as well back.
Yeah. So let's skip to those points, because we're in that topic right now, and I have here early adopter advantage, right? I mean, clearly, those that got first to the app, they pretty much got a stronghold on how the app works, what are the mechanics of it, and what are the expectations of people that come into there. And they took advantage of that, right? And not only that, when they opened the doors, it was like a flood, right? So many people just flock into the app, and these people leverage that to gain momentum in their businesses, right? In their personal brands. They started redirecting people to their Instagram, YouTube channel, you name it.
Yeah.
They started, and you could see it clearly in their bios, right? These bios were literally like sales pages. Get my 10 tips to Clubhouse in here, right? They're growing their email list. They're marketers at the end of the day, and that's great. I'm not complaining about that, but it was a lot of early adopter advantage. Rather, I think it's going to happen the same with Green. I'm calling him Spotify with Greenroom. It's going to happen the exact same. There's a lot of people that were in the beta that now they're ready in there. I mean, you said at the beginning, there's some people that already been there 20 hours in a row straight, no sleeping.
Well, that was in Clubhouse. That was a story from Clubhouse that the guy was like, hey, I don't really want to do that here. Like that.
Oh, that's what he said. I thought he said
that's not
that
sustainable. Yeah, so the dog's kicking the light in the back. That's all good. That's what he was saying. It's like, that is not sustainable, right? Because everybody's like, okay, this is the hot new thing, right? We got to be there. We got to be present, grow our audience. And yes, that could have been like a golden opportunity. Absolutely. But really, like, you're not sleeping. You're not having, a good relationship. Are you maintaining these things, right? Like, who knows if that's actually sustainable, right?
It's not sustainable.
Exactly.
You cannot be 24 hours. It's not going to be sustainable. But going back to the topic of early adopter advantage, I think it's going to happen the same exact thing with Greenroom. People that are going to be here, they're going to start just preaching Greenroom. Everybody should go there. It's better than Clubhouse. Or they're going to be doing just like we're doing right now, Greenroom versus Clubhouse, right? and you're going to drag people to the platform, and then you're going to start gaining traction if you are consistent enough. That is part of it. The other thing that I think it complements really good with this is that it was something that our good friend Damon Borden brought to us when we had him in that conversation. The speaker clicks, right? The clicks within Clubhouse, I think they're just going to move and become the clicks inside of Greenroom, right? What are those clicks? I mean, sometimes you go into these rooms and it's the same exact speakers every single time, right? And hey, I'm not complaining that they're not delivering value. They are. They certainly are delivering value for a lot of people in the conversations. But I personally find it very diminishing in a way that when they allow you to come to the stage, right? Okay, it's their room, but they're allowing you. They're giving you permission to ask a question or to make the contribution, right? And maybe we've been guilty of this in the rooms that we've been part of. But I personally, I don't know. I see it as the other person has to be able to join the conversation, not just a status play on, hey, you're not allowed to say anything else but a question, right? Because I've seen that scenario in a way where people just jump in and they're like, oh, no, you can only ask a question.
Yeah, I think if you're putting a limit on the question, right, maybe are the rules clear, right? Because at the end of the day, you're coming to that house, right? So, if you have a house and you have a guest, I'm sure you have house rules where you're like, hey, you cannot pee in the floor in the middle of the kitchen, right? Like
you go to the bathroom. You cannot talk.
You go to the bathroom and do your business over there, right? So I think in a sense, if it's your room, you're putting it together, there is a framework to the room, just like we're doing today with the show, right? There is a framework to the show. But at the end of the day, it's like, are we being polite? Are we actually giving those opportunities?
I agree with that.
Are we actually letting, everybody actually have that conversation except just the same people? I think on the clicky thing, what we saw was the rooms where the same moderators all the time, and then you will come up and you had to be part of that club to actually be a moderator, and there were like 30,000 moderators, right? That doesn't make sense, right? Only one moderator, maybe two, right, to actually run a room.
Which in Greenroom, there's only one moderator.
Absolutely, which in this case is just me today. I got the power.
I know, you can kick me out of the room anytime.
I know. So, in that sense, that's what it is. And, maybe we're talking by completely like our own experience, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And by the way, we went on rooms, we collaborated, we listened, and it wasn't for us. And that was actually one of the reasons of why we decided not to run the show on Clubhouse, because we're like, okay, we tried it actually with Doug Bolton, right? Incredible conversation that we had with one of the top affiliates on ClickFunnels, right? And we then stayed for a Q&A. It was good. And we had incredible people asking questions to Doug, to us. Clubhouse. But at the same time, we're all are running on calendars, and time went like crazy. I was actually on my phone driving to pick up my son while answering these questions, right? I don't think that's healthy. We already agree that that's not sustainable. So again, like what are the rules that you're putting into your platform, and then attached to that, right? At the end of the day, is about how can we be consistent. So if this is a long-term strategy for you, sweet, go ahead, do it. If this is something that you want to try to see if you can fit it into your business model, absolutely try it. We had a conversation with Daniel, right? We met him at OfferLive. He's working with one of the top teams right now in South America with Ariel Brailovsky in all over the world, multi-million-dollar organization that they have over there, right? And they were telling us their entire strategy is based off of the connections that they made with Clubhouse. But guess what? They have systems in place. They have people in there. They engage with people. They have these incredible conversations, right? And it works for them. Yeah. So again,
this is something else that I saw that I want to piggyback from what you're saying is a lot of people that I saw having a lot of momentum within Clubhouse already have an audience.
Yes.
They already have an audience. And I think it was very challenging for somebody that didn't have that big of an audience to make an impact. Maybe the strategy there is build that relationship with somebody specific that you can leverage their audience, right? Like any other social media, it's called collaboration, right?
Yes.
But build that relationship so then when you're in rooms with that person, you can text them and be like, hey, I would love to be in the speaker panel as well. And hopefully they would let you in there.
Yeah.
So yes, of course, like any other platform, there's challenges. I think you put beautifully what I put out very emotionally. I was like, oh, these clicks, I absolutely hate them. And you're like, no, this is the rules.
Yeah.
And I agree, honestly. Like when you put it that way, there are rules, 100%, absolutely. I just not a fan of the clicks of these are just the people that are going to be in here and how status driven is the app. That is something that conflicts a little bit inside of me.
By the way, we got some comments here from Tim. What's up? Seems a benefit to have an audio platform that is linked to a podcast platform. I think that is an incredible golden boulder right there.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we've been able to actually discuss, in this short period that we've experienced both. I love the fact that Spotify, I know for sure for a fact that they're playing. Wow, that was intense. That they're playing the long game, right? They are investing in the creators, right? They've been investing in big shows. Obviously, they're investing in people creating that whole ecosystem. What would that ecosystem look like, right? So one of the comments that we heard was the platform allows really for two creators to have a conversation inside of that, and then there's an audience that really wants to listen to that show, wants to do it, right? Versus in Clubhouse, it seemed that everybody really wanted just to have a say in whatever topic they were saying, right? That was at least my personal experience. That was at least a lot of the experiences that got shared in that room with a lot of Clubhouse creators, right? But here it seems that that's the experience. Two people collaborating, creating the content together after that relationship, right? And people listening, right? There's a chat that is live that is going all the time, so people can comment and do things.
Finish that. Sorry, finish it. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
And there's no real way from the audience to. Is there a way to kind of raise your hand and come up up?
I think there is a way to raise your hand.
And then, but anyway, so I think that is the main difference today. Is like, okay, how are you gonna use it, right? Because if your business allows for that collaboration where you're saying, hey, today we're actually having a Q&A session. This is the container. We're doing it for 2 hours, right? Here's where you find us. Kind of like what we're doing with the show today. Sweet, come in, join, let's have a conversation, right? If the rule is we're actually going to have a show between Contents Profit co-hosts and Contents Profit guests, and then we're going to open 30 minutes for open discussion if there is, sweet, that is the rule. But just we got to make sure that those are, clear to everybody in the audience, with the guest and the host, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And what I wanted to add in there was we were talking about TTF, right? Time to fun on the apps. And I think that's something that Greenroom is doing better because on Clubhouse, when you would get into a room, you could only listen until they would let you up on stage and they would allow you to, either make a question or a contribution.
You can raise your hand.
You can raise your hand, but still you got to wait for them to pull you up from the audience. Now, on Greenroom, you can go into a room and anybody has access to the chat.
Ooh, that's
So immediately you can start interacting with people. You can start reading the comments, right? And I think that gives it a degree of, I don't know, activeness, if that's a word, right? A degree where the user now has more experience than just sitting there and listening, right? I mean, we all have, and everybody knows this, right? We have the attention span of a goldfish. So
Yes.
if we are sitting in a room, it's going to take a lot from somebody to just stand still and listen, and then just without leaving. So what did Greenroom do? Let's engage everybody. Maybe not everybody can be on the speaker panel, but everybody can be a part of this community of, instead of making it a room, let's make it a mini community where people still have a voice and they can chat, right? Because now the speakers, they can see the chat. If a question pops up, guess what? You answer right there. I had a few, we were in a room right now and I had a few questions about, hey, how many moderators are in Greenroom, right? How many speakers, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody right there, immediately, they answered my question. Not one of the speakers, somebody within the chat.
Yeah.
So guess what? You answer questions in the chat. I was like, oh, who's this person? I click in their profile, start checking them out. What are they doing? Can we connect? I think that is a great advantage from Greenroom over Clubhouse.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, as human beings, right, we're wired for relationships. And I think we all live this through, 2020. That was kind of crazy, where everybody's like confined in their house, like people going crazy, marriages splitting just because, we're not used to just be by ourselves.
Splitting.
Yeah, it happened, dude. It happened.
It did.
Read the news.
I actually saw the other day.
The fake news or the real news?
I don't know. The other day I saw actually the first Clubhouse wedding.
Oh boy.
Yes, I saw a room that said the first Clubhouse wedding ever. I was like, wait, what?
Sounds intimidating.
Sounds so romantic.
By
honestly.
the way, this is the first content is profit on Greenroom. Let's
go.
Okay. Anyways, so we're wired for relationships, right? So, if we cannot make those relationships, that's why, and I think this is more of a social media than Clubhouse ever will be, because of that aspect, because we can connect with other entrepreneurs that are not necessarily like on the stage, right? People that are in the same room, we can comment, like, and obviously there will be rules. I'm assuming that they will be coming and making sure that it stays healthy and good for everybody, good experience. But at the same time, same thing. Like, if I want to connect with somebody, sounds good. I just click on their profile, engage in the chat, and so on.
I mean, I feel like these chats can definitely turn a little toxic real quick. I'm not gonna lie. That's
more fuel for the people publishing. I think that can be
absolutely. But at the same time, it can turn off a lot of people. Like, I just don't want to be in this room anymore, and they leave. So,
by the way, they give you the option if you want chats or no chat in your room when you create it, which is good.
I don't know exactly how the moderating works for the chat. I don't know if the one moderator for the whole room is the only one that can moderate the chat as well. But
you can turn on and off the chat.
Yeah, but I mean, what if there's only one person, right? And you're the moderator is the only one that can kick him out, but then the moderator is busy speaking, right? So that's what I'm saying. I'm sure they're gonna come up some features and stuff that are some updates that are gonna help the app. That being said, we're here for more of the macro view instead of just like the technicalities like this one. So let's move on to the next point, which is Spotify already has a massive audience, paying customers, and creators that they can leverage for this launch and feedback loop that they're having with Greenroom, which I think is absolutely amazing. It's definitely an advantage. It's an upper hand over Clubhouse, which, yes, they got valuated at $1 billion, but that doesn't mean they have $1 billion in their pocket. Right. Of course, they've been raising money from investors that they can come back and invest into the platform. But at this point, up to my knowledge, I don't think they have a monetization system.
To my knowledge, no.
Yeah, I think I feel like I heard somebody talking about the clubs being able to monetize themselves in a way. So I'm guessing
that was early at the beginning, and it's all tied down to sponsorship, size of audiences, which again can be very detrimental to the creators, the brand new people that are coming in and they want to share their voice, right? People like us, for example, right? Like a few years back when we started 45 Live, right? If we were to adopt this new thing, like it can be very discouraging when you join, right? And you may see one person, right? And again, our message is if that person is there, that person is there for a reason. And I'm sure there's going to be a ton of value shared. But at the same time, when it comes to monetization of outside of offers that you can potentially, have a conversation with that person, right? Which is sponsorships. Let's say Coca-Cola, they're probably going to sponsor the biggest rooms. And at the same time, if that is the one thing that we focus on, it's really not encouraging.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's set this clear right now. You don't need a big audience online to make money. Now, big audience opens the door for partnerships, right? All these brand deals, which a lot of people can take advantage of. But like you were saying, for the smaller creators, then is how can I build those relationships, right? How can I go into this app, Greenroom or Clubhouse, and build the relationships to drive people to my offers or make the sales that I need in my business, right? So that is an extremely incredible point that people need to have into consideration. Right now, this is what I love. Greenroom, again, Spotify, they just have fun. They have money, right? They have a lot of capital to invest in the platform, and they already have a creator fund for Greenroom. How does this look like, right? I mean, I don't know the specifics, but this is totally assumption just based on how like YouTube funds work. Snapchat has a fund as well for creators. So if you apply as a creator, and if they see you, probably they have some sort of evaluation that they do, right? Whether your content might be on brand, if you can, represent the brand properly, and if you have a lot of upside for growth, they give you money, right? Pretty much they invest in your growth, in your consistency, in your creativity, in your hard work, which I think it is absolutely amazing because now a lot of creators, they're going to move into Greenroom, they're going to apply for this, and guess what? All these people are going to be putting in the work, and they're going to be spreading the word about Greenroom. Now, I looked it up. This Clubhouse has a fund as well. And this January, they were actually talking about open, like kind of like giving grants for some creators. I know it's at a very smaller scale. And my immediate thought was capital. Spotify has so much capital, right? I mean, they have the membership-based software as a service, obviously. They make a lot of money that they can just pour into this. I mean, just by seeing the contract that they gave Joe Rogan, it's insane, right?
In the discussion that we were earlier, right? Like people were talking about, is this gonna be the new, Clubhouse, right? And somebody came up, and I think that was so good. And he's like, look, this platform is what you make it to be first, right? And second, if Spotify would have decided to make Clubhouse, they would have decided to make Clubhouse. They have all the power and the resources and the teams in the world to be able to pull that off, right? So clearly, like this is a piece in a bigger picture, but at the same time is also something very different, right? And again, keep in mind, the app was actually called Locker Room, and it was for literally talk about sports, right? Talk about sports either after the game, during the game, right? It was so cool. And then they just adapted and morphed into this live streaming thing that's happening, today with all the content creators, right? Because if it's if it's not live, it's not happening.
Absolutely. Guys, if you're listening right now, please don't forget to smash the subscribe button. Just join us in this journey of Content is Profit. If you are watching the live stream right now and you have, a thought that you want to share with us, if you want to join the conversation, click the link at the very top of the stream, right? The StreamYard link, and you'll be brought into the stream greatness, and we'll bring you up and we'll have a conversation. We'll listen to your thoughts and opinions, and we can have an awesome discussion in here. But yeah, this is actually, I feel this is the first open discussion we've done in Content is Profit.
Fancy question. What was one of the things that bothered you the most about Clubhouse?
I mean, I already shared. For me, it was like the clicks and the having to just wait so much to be able to share something, right? And I feel a lot of people just wanted to speak right? If I want to honestly sit down and listen to something to learn, I'm just going to look for the podcast that is talking about that, and I'm just going to listen to that. But what bothered me the most, and I don't know, it was just so time consuming. It just takes your attention off of everything, honestly.
I remember that I did not work, was not effective at all during that week and a half that I downloaded the app and started engaging, right? It was so time consuming. And we talk about leverage all the time, right? If we can create a piece of content like this one, for example, and then create incredible and multi-purpose assets. So they're literally coming out for the next 2 months because everything is incredible value. And then for those people that type of content matters, finds it, is so incredible. But in this platform, first, you can sit for hours and hours. And if your objective is to consume and learn from the best, absolutely. I mean, I was sitting in a room with Mr. Beast and one of his producers, Daryl, and they were, I mean, the room with thousands of people, right? And they were sharing incredible value in this platform that, we are starting to tackle, right? We live more on the Facebook and Instagram. And then YouTube, we're like, sounds good. What can we experience here? And that was incredible just to sit there. Also, we sat in a room with Bitcoin, learning about Bitcoin, right? That's incredible at the same time. But if you are a creator, right, that can be really challenging, like navigate those waters, right? Either you have to be a moderator, either you can launch a live show like that and then bring on people. What do you actually do? So with that, I
think that was one of the biggest advantages. Sorry for interrupting you here, but before you share yours, I think that was one of the biggest advantages of this platform is the immediate access that you can get to some of these personalities, right? They can jump in and start talking about a topic, and then they have a live Q&A. And I think that's amazing, something that podcasting lacks, right?
Yeah. But at the same time, again, we go back to size of audience, right? So how can we leverage if we have newer businesses or newer creators coming into whatever new platform is? Because if you are listening right now and you have tried to create content, it doesn't happen overnight, right?
Absolutely.
For most people, the great majority doesn't happen over time. It takes time. It takes consistency. We share often the example of Mr. Beast, right? 3 videos a week, at least minimum for 10 years. Right, that's a lot of content, right? Granted, right now he has more than 60 million subscribers, right? But at the same time, is that consistency that's gonna get you there, right? Like Russell, like we have an affinity for Russell and the ClickFunnels community, but especially Russell on his journey on publishing, same thing, right? Like he's been doing it for years, and there's still so many people that don't know who this guy is, right? So when we come into content creation and content production, we compare ourselves to the high end, the top high end, top 0.1%, right? The content producers that have been doing it for years, have systems in place, have resources, got that momentum, have an audience. So whenever they adopt a new platform, we're going to see that, right? They come in, they adopt, right? They move an entire audience because they have access to their own distribution channels, call it podcast, call it YouTube channel, call it TV show, like Grant Cardone, for example, right? They come to this new platform, they do a call to action in the other platforms, and then they move a massive amount of people to come and join them in that thing. And that's what Fonzi was mentioning earlier, why Spotify is investing in these creators. And now I'm sure that's probably going to be the move. They're going to be doing live shows here. They're going to do collaborations. They're going to be those shows that they're investing. They're going to come to this platform in Greenroom and doing that because they have the audience and the other ones. And what they're doing, they're shifting that audience, right? So if you have the audience, great. Take advantage of it. Create a great experience for your people. If you do not have a great audience, how are you actually going to stay consistent, right? Because
the audience advantage.
The audience advantage. Ooh, bam, bam, bam. Okay. But again, like to be completely honest, like how are you going to do that? So for us, right, we look at this platform and we're like, there is a great opportunity because they're not capping on the recording. They actually give us a recording, which is incredible, right? Yeah. We can go live in there and we can test stuff and we can tap into new audiences.
For what I heard is actually easier to share the rooms.
Easier to share the rooms
from Greenroom than Clubhouse.
And also, guess what? We can leverage that content, right? Because let's say, obviously, we have a system in place that we record the video, and that's what we do for leverage, right? That's what we do for a living with our team. But for people that only record audio, this is a great platform because now you can collaborate. You're like, hey, just meet me at the Greenroom. Right? Just meet me in Greenroom and that's it. And that we're going to record it in there without any software, without any friction outside of just this, right? How many people are so tired of Zoom, right? And this is something that we can probably do a collaboration live, still have the recording, and then leverage that recording for other things, right? We're big fans of video. You can leverage a little bit more than just audio, but at the same time, it's an incredible tool to be able to do this. So I think there's way more advantages, right? We named some of the items that kind of turned us off from Clubhouse. I think we're legit gonna give this a try to at least run the show live in there. We'll see how it goes, and we'll report later on it.
Yeah, personally, I think yes, we're gonna give it more of a chance with content is profit.
Yeah, with the show.
Personally, do I see myself going in and spending my time and attention in those rooms? Oof, that is a difficult one to answer. Honestly, I don't know. I see the value on leveraging that early adopter advantage, right? I mean, you got a flock of people that are gonna come in, and you're gonna have an increase of other people's attention. I think that is valuable, yes, but is it worth the lack of attention and then in clarity and lack of focus on other things that you got to do? Because that's the other thing. Like, this is just gonna help you procrastinate on the things that you need to do to grow your business, unless this is the one thing that you just put in your full focus on to grow your business. Then I think it's different.
Yeah. So in my head, here's how I see it, right? Like, and in Clubhouse, we had this incredible conversation with people that legit just hire a team to manage Clubhouse, right? Like, obviously they have their resources, right? But most people don't, or they're developing those resources, or they're developing those systems, right? So it's really challenging to grab that and split the attention of that person that you're putting in place to now run this thing that is unknown, right?
Yep.
So that's why when I mentioned, hey, we might be using it, is literally for the show, because production wise doesn't change anything except literally logging into the app and creating the room, which takes 2 seconds, right? So it's like, okay, sounds good. If we can do that, we can run the show live. Let's say there's people that, because the show is probably going to appear on some kind of feed, and because it's from Spotify, our show is published on Spotify, right?
Yep.
There might be some connection in there, right? So we're gonna see what happens.
I'm curious. I'm going to our podcast page right now. Imagine that it says these guys are live right now.
Oh, that would be so good. They actually made me put the name of the show, but there was no link to it, so I don't know. I think that's coming.
It shows it on the top right there. Content's profit.
I think it's coming on. By the way, I'm taking a screenshot here so we can savor this moment. But at the same time, I think that's gonna be incredible, right? Because on Clubhouse, they don't give you the recording. No account is connected to really Clubhouse on the front end. On the back end, there's all these APIs that track you, which is crazy at the same time. But you can connect your Instagram. But here, I think it's more native.
I don't think you know much about APIs, because me neither. But for what I've heard, I don't think APIs are the ones that track you. APIs are the ones that allow you to connect apps between each other.
I know. So Instagram is actually connected through Clubhouse in the back end through an API, right? And that's why you have all the suggestions. You can share the stuff.
Yeah, but it's not that they're tracking you.
But then Instagram.
Yeah, we're gonna have Instagram tracks you. Okay. If you have the new iOS, you need to give them permission. That is a debate for another day. Ooh. Did you give Instagram and Facebook permission to track you? Okay. I certainly did. Why? Because I love offers and I want to see offers relevant to the things that I'm interested in, right? So guess what? Yes, allow to track me.
Tangent alert. Okay,
yeah, tangent.
Going back to this. Okay, we have a few minutes left. Fonzie, any last thoughts?
No, I'm actually just looking in here to see if by any chance it popped up that we're on Greenroom. Yes, last thoughts. Absolutely. So, okay. There's some points in here that we didn't cover, but we ran out of time. Number one, Greenroom with more resources than Clubhouse. I personally think Greenroom is going to take the crown. And I don't think it's going to take too much time, if I'm being honest. I think Greenroom is going to take the crown of category king for interactive live audio, because honestly, they just have, again, with the resources, and I'm not talking just capital, they just have probably the staff, the developers to release features, updates, patches as fast as they right? They can hear feedback and immediately they can implement.
Literally, they were saying that the feedback was implemented so rapidly that you can actually see it happen.
I mean, it happened to us.
Room. Yeah.
So they have these things that are called gems, which I kind of like the idea, right? When somebody says something nice, you double tap on their icon and it gives them
I just gave you another gem.
Oh, appreciate it. It gives them a gem. What I don't like about the gems is that now people are doing the follow for follow, gem for gem type of thing,
yeah.
which is like, oh yeah, just give gems to everybody all the time. If they give you a gem, you give a gem back. I mean, gems are indicators that you're actually adding value. At least that's how I perceive it right now.
Are you actually dropping golden boulders? You just did, so I just gave you a gem.
Appreciate it. I'm not going to return it because you didn't give a golden boulder right now.
I think I dropped a few golden boulders.
As soon as you drop one, I'll give you a gem, right? But that is the issue that I see with that. But I like the idea overall. Now, when we logged into Greenroom, we could see the gem count on everybody, right? It was something that was there for everybody to see. Literally, like an hour later, you couldn't see it anymore, and the app was open at that moment, right? The app was open. We could see it, and all of a sudden, the gems disappeared, and you could only see people's gems. What is that sound?
That's you, bro. That's your phone.
No, I lowered the volume. And you could only see people's gems when people would give each other a gem. And I was like, oh man, that is super impressive. What? Yeah, it's super loud now. Is it my phone?
It's your phone. Yeah, I think it's your phone. Anyways,
it's all good. Anyways,
yeah.
For my last thoughts are, Greenroom is going to take the crown for the category king over Clubhouse. And Clubhouse is not going to die because I think they have their hardcore fans. And they have a lot of people that have invested a lot of times, that now they have a lot of big audiences, that their ego is going to be so tied to that platform that they're just going to speak bad about Greenroom. So nobody leaves Clubhouse. That being said, Greenroom is going to win. And then guess what? I think Clubhouse is going to start coming up with, new features, maybe allowing creators to monetize in different ways. And then both apps are going to stay alive, but Greenroom is just going to have the upper hand.
I know. I think this is going to be an interesting journey for the rest of 2021, right? Like, yep. I think we're going to see probably two very distinct types of creators in each platform. I think in Greenroom, we're going to see people that are show focused, that they're going to tie down their show to the platform. They're going to create these incredible experiences, right? And I think Clubhouse, because that's the world that we've, been around, I think is going to be more on the marketer side, right? Yep. So Greenroom more towards the entertaining side, Clubhouse more into the marketer selly type stuff, right? Mm-hmm. We didn't talk about the bios. Those are two things. We have a question here coming in. Which is better? What's up, Kimi? How you doing?
Yes.
Joining us in Greenroom. Honestly, the whole episode was about our first experience. This is our first time here in Greenroom. So, we're going to be testing it out. We're going to see. And we actually have Kimi here. What's up?
We got Kimi and Michael. Yeah, let's do this. Let's actually, Kimi, Michael, we're going to close the Content is Profit episode right now, and then we'll leave the room open and we'll have that conversation. Or should we just include it on the show?
Let's include it on the show if they're okay with it. Kimi, if you're okay with it, you can just on mic and share your opinion with it. If you stay quiet, we get the message and we'll close out the show, and then we'll stay here a little bit behind the scenes. Yeah. What's up, Michael? So, Kimi, any thoughts? I think he's like, okay, behind the scenes.
Yeah,
good
totally
to go.
Behind the scenes. That's
all
right. Michael, what about you? Michael, do you want to come up here, share your thoughts on which one do you think is going to be better, Greenroom, Clubhouse?
Yes. So Kimi says, I've been using Clubhouse for 6 months. That's a really good time. That's way more than what we gave it a shot, because we just didn't resonate much with the app. So very interesting to hear your thoughts. I love this chat feature over here.
Yes, and the chat's pretty cool.
As we close down the show, and we're gonna stay a few minutes right here on behind the scenes in Greenroom. My last thought is, really, if you are a creator, choose maybe one, maybe two, give it a try. What is your framework? How do you actually create content? For us, Greenrooms make more sense because we run a live show. So it's very easy, very frictionless for us to attach the platform that we already have here. If you love collaboration, test them both, right? See what's happening. If your community, if your audience is already on Clubhouse, if you want to move them here, I think go ahead, experiment. That's a fun that's a fun thing to do. So anyways, predictions. I think Green Room is going to last longer, way longer than Clubhouse, and Clubhouse is going to become maybe a collaboration space where people come in for smaller workshops and different things. But the big audiences are probably going to be living in Green Room because we have the resources over here to be able to fund those shows that are going to move those audiences. So with that said, guys, thank you so much for tuning into Content is Profit podcast. Go ahead and follow the show in your favorite platform.
Yes.
And on social media, find us at BIZBROS Co.
That is right. And if you love today's open discussion and you want to hear more about it, let us know. Leave a review, leave some feedback. We would love to hear from you. See ya.
Bye, guys. All right.
All right, we're still in Green Room over here.
We're still in Green Room, and
let's stay live. Yeah, let's stay live.
We're actually live on Facebook, so if people want to see our faces, we're out there as well. We got Cody, we got Michael in here, we got the chat blowing up. What's up?
Okay, so we got Michael saying, I'm driving at the moment, so it's really loud in his car, but he said, I have the top clubs for socialmedia.com Clubhouse with over 850,000 members.
Incredible.
That is a lot, Michael. We actually talk about people with a lot of members in Clubhouse might have their ego a little tied to the app because they put so much effort into it that they might not want to jump, and they might, pretty much talk in a negative way somehow about Green Room. I'm curious, what are your thoughts about that? How do you feel about Green Room launching? We also have Kimi, but he says, I look like it'll be a hatred platform in China. I'm curious to hear about that, honestly.
Yeah, Michael says, I can hop on, but it's going to be loud. Up to you guys. Absolutely, Michael. Let's make it happen. We come from Venezuela, and we had a car that had no AC, so it was always loud. So it's good to go. So what's up, Michael? How you doing?
Pretty good. Is it loud? Do I sound like I'm far away, or is it okay?
You sound good, man.
This is perfect, brother. Good to meet you, man.
Yeah. Likewise, I'm using my AirPods, so I'm not sure if Green Room picks up the AirPods or not. I wasn't sure if it's my phone speaker or my AirPods, but
no worries.
Yeah, to your question, yeah, I have the top club. I think I have the fourth or the third largest club on Clubhouse for specifically Instagram marketing. It's kind of interesting to me. To answer your first question that you mentioned earlier, like the idea of like being frustrated or kind of annoyed, that I built up all this stuff over here and now it's migrating to Green Room. I'm not really bothered by it. Most of the top club creators that I've talked to, they're not really upset by it either, to be honest, because we've steadily seen this decline kind of happening in terms of audience attendance and notifications going on Clubhouse, where we spend so much time building these audiences and building these clubs, and it's hard to reach them now. So most of us are kind of looking at this like, okay, Clubhouse was a testing ground. We are not going to repeat the same errors. Let's do things very differently on Green Room or Spaces or whatever comes out in the future. So I'm not too bothered by it. I see the platform is fundamentally different. I don't think they're honestly that much competition in the long run. So yeah, I'm excited. I like it.
Yeah, interesting, man. Yeah, I love your point of view. Dude, honestly, I love your handle too. Just so you know, sales. That's awesome. But we discussed a little bit about some of those issues with attention, the retention on Clubhouse, right? We share some stats that we heard from the people at the hustle that they were talking about. February downloads were 9.8 million, and then on April they had only 992,000 downloads, and the retention of the user, right? It was kind of like a hassle, a challenge for Clubhouse to start retaining these users.
Michael, by the way, I'm gonna throw it out there. We would love to have you on Content is Profit, like live on on the show. We actually do it live on Facebook and YouTube to talk about these things and kind of deep dive. If that's an offer that you'd like to take, just let me know. I'll just follow you on Instagram and we can connect there for sure, because we could be diving into these things, and you can share with us and the audience on how you were able to leverage those groups, and I'm sure that all the value that you guys are providing within your club. I think that would be an incredible topic for the show.
Yeah, I would love to do that. Let's connect on Instagram and chat over there. But to your point of the decline, I think one of the biggest issues that most people from the old school days of Clubhouse and the new users was discoverability. It was really, really hard to find rooms that felt like there was value, felt like it was something that you could take away from or contribute to. And I kind of got flooded with these rooms that, it's more or less like people trying to game the system and Let's get 1,000 people in the room on stage so that we can rank up to the top, which, whatever, do what you got to do to try to get up there. But I think it fundamentally ended up breaking the app in a lot of ways, because even myself, I used to spend like 6-8 hours a day on Clubhouse learning and sharing and doing this and that. And now I'll probably spend 6 or 8 hours a week on the app, maybe like 30 minutes to an hour a day. And most of the time, I'm not really creating anymore. I'm just kind of listening and kind of dipping in and out. So, two things that I would think is like whoever really nails discoverability and being able to curate rooms specifically for the person and bubbling up those rooms to the top, that things that you're actually interested in, I think they're the ones that are going to really be able to come out on top, whether that's Clubhouse or Facebook or Spaces or whoever. And then with this, Greenroom, I see Greenroom being more of like an incubator for podcasters, because our podcasters for Spotify. If you think about it, Spotify started moving more towards acquiring and partnering with podcasts specifically, and trying to move away a little bit from music, because the profit margins aren't that great. You got to pay the labels out. So, if you look at how much they're spending to acquire, like there's a podcast called Call Me Daddy, and they spent $60 million to acquire them for, I think, a 3-year contract. Where if you think about it, it's kind of amazing. If they found this room right now and discovered you two guys, like, we love what they're doing, we love the format, we love their energy, let's throw $1 million at these guys. Hey, we're going to promote you, we're going to boost you up on Spotify. I'm pretty sure you two guys would be like, yeah, we'll definitely do that. But for them, it's actually a really good deal, because 3 years from now, they don't have to pay you $50 million to get you for, a small contract for like a month or a year or whatever it might be. So I think of this as a way for them to kind of incubate and to discover really good talent, to kind of hold the hand and be like, hey, you got some pretty good stuff here. Let's build you out, and let's give you a platform. Because if you think about it, Clubhouse, they're trying to do shows, but they don't have the distribution channel. Spotify, tomorrow, YouTube, they can be like, hey, we're going to put you on the very front page of Spotify app to all 300 million active users daily. Would you like that? I'm pretty sure you guys are like, yeah, we are definitely going to go with you guys. So I think maybe that's one thing for them. Whether, they take the audio space war or not, I think if they can find 10 people or 10 podcasts and they can boost them up, in the long run, over a 10-year period, they might be able to generate $1 billion in ad revenue off of $5 million they initially spent, towards building you guys up and stuff like that. So that's where I kind of see this kind of moving towards, and why I'm kind of excited. We're talking about more like community focused.
Yeah, I love your point right there, that Spotify is using Greenroom kind of like as an incubator and discovery channel for creative talent, and I think that is massive. Honestly, that is massive. And they have we actually talked about that in today's episode. They have the resources to do so, right? They launched Greenroom with a creator fund already. So that is just massive. And I think Clubhouse, I looked it up online, and I think they're giving some sort of grants. But like you're saying, those distribution channels play a huge role.
Yeah, it reminds me of the early days of YouTube, right? When they're helping those creators, and they're signing up people in their beta programs for the ad revenue programs. And, those people, made bank, and because it was a great opportunity. And not only that, but they were able to help develop, what the platform is today, right? And you look back 5, 6, 7 years, and it's incredible. So I think there's so much to unpack. I love how this became a thing now, especially for podcasters, right? Because it's a lot of people it's a market that is very passionate, a lot of people that have incredible value to those incredible niche, right? And now this whole ecosystem is developing around that. So dude, Michael, thank you so much for your conversation, for your time today. We're
gonna reach out through Instagram. We'll send you a DM, and then let's coordinate for having you in the podcast.
Yeah.
Sounds great. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely, man. So we're going to head out. We have a show coming in like 30 minutes. Michael, again, thank you so much. And for those watching on Facebook, thank you for hanging out. It was so awesome. If you want more of this, more of the open discussions, the broskies, and let us know in the comments, or send us a quick DM at BIZBROS. And we'll see you soon.
Yeah,
bye, Fonzie.
right.
Take care. Bye. Bye, Michael. Take care.